Interesting. Hello, 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 hello to the live chat. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I want to talk with you. Um, so I have been journeying, right? I've been on an adventure with God since, I've been adventuring Him for a long time, but this specific adventure I started in October when He invited me to move to LA, and I did. And, that's a whole other thing that I'm still kind of documenting and creating content for, like just videos so that you know. But one thing I know for sure is that as I have been going on these adventures, right, I've had to, what I say often, write my plans, write everything in pencil, and have a big old fat pink eraser and not write everything in Sharpie. And many times, I don't know about you, but like you want to do something and you go, okay, and then you lay it all out and this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, Lord, let's go do this. And you might even invite him into your planning, and it still doesn't mean. And even when he's like, yo, yes, let's do this, it still does not mean it's gonna go according to plan. It might be detoured, it might be delayed. And so those of you who have been rocking with me for a minute know that I was headed to Japan a couple of days ago. So here's what happened. I fly down to Dallas, and there's only one flight that I could take to get to Haneda. So when I was going down there the first day, the flight was overbooked, so I couldn't make that flight. I was standing there just in hopes and prayer, like, God, like, I know that you said to do this, and so here I am. And so I didn't make that flight. Then I was like, okay. I called a couple of friends and I was like, all right, let me see what this looks like. Everybody was very hospitable, which I love my friends. Thank you so much. I love you. It's like, hey, you can just come stay with me. I love it. And then my mom was like, well, I'll just get your hotel room. Everything, all three options was about $100. Every option. It was $100 for the hotel room or $100 in Uber or Lyft fees to and from my friends' places. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to opt to stay at the hotel because they have free airport shuttles. So I did that. When I tell y'all I went to sleep that day, I was like, because I was exhausted. And it wasn't from all the flying because I only took the one flight. It was from walking around DFW for hours because the lady told me that there was a lower level that wasn't real. And I was like, ma'am, this is the lowest level. She's like, no, it's one lower than that. No, ma'am. Ain't no lower than this level. And so I ended up walking, man, by the time the whole day was done, I walked over 3 miles with a backpack that probably weighed about 30 or 40 pounds and my purse. So I usually travel with my backpack, and then my purse is a backpack, and I travel with that on the front. Baby, I was tired. You hear me? I was tired. And so I went to sleep. I got me a couple of salads in the airport, so I wouldn't have to stop and get anything to eat. I got me a couple of salads. Of course, they cost $1,000 a piece because I don't know what kind of food they use it, but it cost 1,000. It didn't. It felt like $1,000 though. Like a banana was $1.25. You can get a whole bunch of bananas for $1.25. Anyway, so the convenience charge is ridiculous. And so I got my little salads because I knew I would get there early and I would need to, and I hadn't eaten all day, so I knew I was gonna eat when I got to the hotel room, and then just chill out for a minute and eat later on. So I had that, and I always carry some kind of protein and fruit with me. I know, right? A whole tree. So I always carry protein, fruit. You can't really carry vegetables as much, but I try. So I didn't have any. So that's why I went, and I was eating salads this week. So that's why I went on and got that. Went to sleep. I'm talking about I was sleeping hard like I had been working all day long. So I got up yesterday morning, and I was like, okay, God, we're going to try this again. He was like, let's go. Get to the airport. Basically the same thing happens, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I felt bad for some of the people also who were there because they couldn't get on the flight either. Basically, the flights are being overbooked. And so when they're overbooked, there's a chance that even when you pay for a ticket, you can't get on. Now, was I upset and all that? I was disappointed. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, this is totally called Detours, Delays, and Dreams. And it's like that for a reason. The difference between probably me and most people is that I'm still open to whatever it is that God wants to do, even when the detour or delay happens. And so yesterday, when I went up to the counter to get my pass to check in, right, to go through TSA, something that I had not encountered in Dallas was like, she was like, oh, well, you need to have this QR code. And I was like, what? And where is that? And what are you talking about? So she told me where it was, gave me the website. I go downstairs to where it's quiet and begin to go through this process, trying to find a QR code. Then it was talking about a visa. Like, it was a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, God, am I supposed to be going here? Like, what is happening? So I go back. I finally found the QR code. I go up to talk to her. She looked like she was going on a break or going to the restroom or something like that. And so when I told the people, I was like, hey, Miss Linda, who walks over there, I'm supposed to come back up to her station. They were like, oh, no, you're supposed to be down there. Which had a huge line. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I went down there and I stood there and I was like, Lord, he was like, when you see Miss Linda go back, just go back to her thing. So I did. Miss Linda got back there. And when she got there, I was like, okay, is this the QR code you're talking about? She was like, yes. So we started talking and just like, I legit spent about 30, 45 minutes up there. I had plenty of time because I got there really early to check in and began to kind of talk with them. They were like, what do you do? And I shared with them that I do soul care and how God and I are on these adventures. Whether it's local adventures or abroad adventures, domestic adventures, like every day is an adventure with God. And so I was like, yeah, I said, but what I do is I do this through the lens of soul care because people's mind, will, and emotions have so much going on that it interferes with their relationship with God. And they were like, shut up. That makes so much sense. So we sat there, most of that time, 30, 45 minutes, we sat there talking about that. They shared with me about their sons and, all of these different things. And was like, would you pray for my son? Because, he's going through this. And just for the record, this happens to me everywhere I go. It don't matter if it's another country. I end up talking to people about God and about soul care because people many times don't realize how hard their souls have been hit. They don't realize. And a lot of it happens in the detours and the delays and the denials. That was the other D, Lord. Thank you. I was trying to, I was like, what was that other D? Detours, delays, and denials. And so many times, this even happened in the Bible, just so you'd be like, girl, what you talking about? In the Bible, Paul, the Apostle Paul, wanted to go over to Asia. Like he was like, I want to get over to Asia and I want to, tell them about the Lord and this and that. And Holy Spirit blocked him every time. Like he tried and he blocked him. And I was like, that's what I'm feeling like today, Lord. Like, are you blocking me? He said, no. But once I prayed for her son, I heard it. I mean, I'm talking about and when I say it's not just me that hears the Lord wants to talk to me and you individually, personally, intimately. And I heard him say, if this whole thing was about you praying for her son and encouraging her to continue to be the example to pull him back to me, was it worth it? Yeah, absolutely it was worth it. He was like, all right. And so then I just had peace about the whole thing. And I, to be honest with you, I kind of knew that I might not make the flight, but I still was hoping against hope. It's not like he said no. It wasn't that. But if I didn't make the flight, I'm okay. I get to go another time. My friends are still going to be there. Like I said, disappointment, yes. But see, sometimes these denials that we get, if we don't partner with God, or let me say when, because we don't always partner with Him. When we don't partner with God and we're just like, yes, let's go, and we're asking Him to just bless whatever we created, listen. It ain't gonna always work out good, because most of the time all the time we can't see all of the angles, and we go, okay, Lord, this is a good plan. Okay, here's an example. When I was a stay-at-home mom, excuse me, all three kids were in school. So kindergarten, third grade, fourth grade. And so I was like, while they're in school, I could get me a little part-time job, right? And then still be able to get them from school and, do the whole thing. Well, a friend of mine was the training manager, okay? Training manager at Chick-fil-A. So I was like, yeah. He said, hey, there's an opening from 9 to 2. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I can get up, because I also was exercising and stuff. And I was like, the place, the Chick-fil-A was like maybe a mile, no more than a mile and a half, but I think it was a mile away. And when my plan was get up, walk them to school, right? I could walk home and then walk or drive home and then walk to work, because I would get off at 2. They got out at 3. I could go on and get a good walk in, pick them up at 3 and walk home. How it's in my neighborhood. This is when I was in Omaha. And I was like, yo, that'll work. So I applied for the job. The guy said I did a great job. And I never, listen, when they call, you let me know, because it's been 13 years. Them folk never called me. And I was like, how do you not get a job at Chick-fil-A saying my pleasure? Like, do you want some more tea? For the folk who retired in there eating all day. What? That was definitely a denial. He was like, no. But I was really kind of upset because I wanted to work. But the Lord had already told me that I wasn't going to be getting another W-2 until it was from my own company. I ain't had no company at the time, y'all. And so I was like, I don't know. And this faith walk thing, sometimes you just be left scratching your head like, I don't know. And what's going on? And so the adventures, right? The things we get to do and the things that happen in our lives sometimes have detours, sometimes they're delays, and sometimes they're denials. Paul had a denial. No, you ain't going to Asia. And he never did get there. But did it stop his ministry and what God had created him to be and do in the earth? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Apparently, Asia was somebody else's assignment, even though he wanted to go. Okay? Delays and denials. You could look at the story of Joseph. Joseph had a dream about, and God showed him this is what's going to happen. And he showed him the future of his life. And when he told his brothers, they was like, oh, we killing this joker. You ain't going to be ruling over me. You ain't going to tell me nothing. And then they were like, we're going to kill him. Then one of the brothers was like, no, we ain't going to kill him. Let's just sell him. Like, he couldn't take the guilt of killing him, but he was like, we can sell him and then tell daddy we killed him. That's what they did. And you would think, okay, that dream must have been crazy. Like, I must have been smoking that night or something, because what? And you might be, have had a dream, or God showed you something, but your life don't look like it. Ain't nothing lining up that looks like it. Listen, Joseph, this is in Genesis, by the way, around 30 something, 36. 30, it's in there. I'll have to find it for you. Maybe put it in the comments. But Joseph, they sold him into slavery to some people who were going to Egypt. They were like, here, take him. He a slave. Their brother now. Their brother. Then he went and he worked at Potiphar's house. Potiphar was a Lord, what was his title? He was high up in the rankings, okay? He was a big to do. So he went to Potiphar's house. He did a great job. Potiphar told him, yo, you can run everything except for eating up my food and sleeping with my wife, but everything else you got access to. And he was like, bet. So then the wife messed it up. She wanted to sleep with Joseph, and then when he wouldn't sleep with her, she cried rape. I don't know if that's a familiar theme in history or not. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so she cried rape. He got put in jail. That then, does that seem like it was in alignment with the dream he had? No, no, it was not. Yet he still believed in God. And the problem is, many times we end up in our own way because when things don't happen the way that we think that they should, or the way that, or it doesn't align with what God showed us, then we be like, this God thing don't work for me. Like I seen him do it for Zenobia, but I didn't see him do it for me. Like he don't do that same thing with her. He did something different with me. Like I know I believe in him, but I don't believe him. Not for me. Like I believe him. I got hell insurance, so I ain't going to hell. But that abundant life, yeah, it just ain't met my life yet. The problem is many times we will give up in the middle of the process because there's a process. So when Joseph was in the prison, right? So he went he was at Potiphar's house, then he went in the palace, or the Potiphar's house, then he went to the prison. He was in the prison for some years and then interpreted the dreams of the cupbearer of who was once the cupbearer of Pharaoh and a baker. He interpreted the dreams correctly, and then they were like, yeah, they got out, and they were like, yeah, we gonna remember you. They did not. It was a couple of years later. The cupbearer, the Pharaoh had a dream, and the cupbearer's like, you know what? This dude down in the prison he was right about the dream that that he interpreted for us. Pharaoh was like, yo, go get him. They cleaned him up. I love this part. They cleaned him up. They didn't just bring him down there looking like whatever. Cleaned him up, and he interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. He told him, hey, this is what this means, and right, the baker and the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. He told him like, this is the dream. This 7 years of famine, or 7 years of like fat, right? 7 years that they would have amazing harvest, and then 7 years that they would not. So it was a fattened cow, and then 7 years of a lean cow. And so God gave Joseph the idea of how to ration out all of that to save the people so that they can get through the famine. And so guess what? He went from the pit, and then he went to Potiphar's house, then he went to the prison, and then he went to the palace. And guess what he was there? Second in command. Now, if he had given up and just said, this God thing don't work, I'm like, this Adonai is not Adonai, which people do. And then they will go look for something else in order to try to fulfill what they think they should have. Don't whoop me, okay? I'm just telling you the truth, all right? So then we go look to see what will agree and seem to get us where we want to be, without regard that there is a process and a plan and a dream that God has in order for you to have the character to be able to stand in what he showed you in the first place. Like, listen, my adventures with God are preparation for bigger things. This isn't the end all of Lindsay. Like, this is not the only thing that I'll do. This is preparation for things that are bigger than me. Stuff that he's shown me, and I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know if I want it. Because it's pretty big. I have no idea how I'm going to get there. What I do know, and what is unchanging, is God, his love for me, and my identity in him, and his dream for me. Because God has a dream for me. And he has all that same stuff, right? For you. But I'm telling you, life will make you give up on the surest thing that you have. I've seen it. I've seen it where people had something sure and rock solid, and then go off for something flittering in the wind, some little glimmer of something they thought it was, and it's not. And the same thing happens with God, where it's like it's not happening how I want it, when I want it, right, with the people that I wanted to. So then we go, this God thing don't work, and that's not true. It's just not working how you want it to work. It's not working how you think it should work. Trust me, the stuff that's happened in my life, did I ever want to be divorced? No. Oh, Lord, no. I didn't want my children to be product of divorce. But that's exactly what happened. Could I have gotten mad at God and been like, you said, see, I had to go through the real emotions of what was happening to me so that I could really process them honestly with God. Like, some people don't want to actually tell God, I don't trust you. I did. I did. I did. I did. And there are times when I'll be like, man, my trust is really, oh God. And he's like, and then he'll remind me, remember when we did this and then I did that? And I was like, yeah, I haven't changed. Oh, okay. And so when we begin to be honest with ourselves and with God, we give space to his truth and healing so that we don't hold on to those things. How many times have you seen people in relationships who they want the relationship to work, but they will not be honest about things, like how they feel about a situation or how they feel on the inside. They won't become vulnerable and intimate with the person. They only give you, maybe one level, two levels down, but they won't get down into that real stuff. The problem with that is that real stuff always seeps out. Their soul issues. It always seeps out. It always seeps out. Ow, little one. Oh, God. This is my grand cat. Apparently, he wants to be in my lap right now, but he's going to get down. But he likes to get in my lap, and he climbs up my leg. Jesus. Oh, God. Y'all pray for me. Cause I don't really, me and cats, we just not getting along. Oh, God. Pray for me. Dude, stop it. And so I really want to encourage you to not give up on God or what he has said or the dream because it doesn't look like what you think it should look like. I could have been upset about Japan because, like, I spent money to prepare for Japan. And then not to go to Japan, it's like, I could have saved that money. I ain't had to spend that $111 to go to the hotel. I ain't had to do that. I ain't had to spend the money for this food. I had to do all this, Now, I could have gotten upset. I could have just been like, God, what? This was an exercise in futility, But when he asked me, was it worth it that you talked to Miss Linda and prayed for her son and encouraged her in my love for her and dreamed for her? Was that worth it? Yes. And so I was done. And it wasn't because I'm perfect in my relationship with God. It's because I believe him. I just don't believe in him. I believe him. So when he says, I have a plan for you. I have a hope in the future. Hope, and it's not to hurt you or harm you. I have an expected end. He already knows my end, your end from the beginning. So when we come here, we begin the work of the process that brings us into full identity of who we are in him. But when our soul and when these imprints in our lives began to mash up, right, and become a part of what we call our identity, then it becomes difficult when the soul wounds and heart hurts and traumas happen. It does cause us to doubt, like, God, are you there? Like, I seen you do that for Teresa, but how come, like, why is my life like this? Why did you let them do that to me? Why did I lose my job? Why did I lose my family? Why didn't you allow that to happen for me? First of all, you're on a whole different journey than they are. So the comparison, there is no comparison in the kingdom. Your adventure is your adventure. If I sent 20 people on a monthly adventure with God, everybody's adventure would be different. Because all of them are different. And that's okay, because there's no comparison in the kingdom. My journey is my journey, and it looks like mine. Your journey is your journey, and it looks like yours. The delays and the denials might just be character building opportunities. See, Joseph might not have been ready to be in the palace. He might not have been mature enough. Now, did it take all of that? Apparently, God thought it did. And maybe you've gone through something in your life. You go, well, God, does it take all that? It might. Did it take me having to go through, going to Japan, buying the stuff, doing the things, flying down there, doing all that, and then flying back, and just like, what was that? Yeah, yeah. Because now I get to tell you about delays, detours, denials, and dreams. Whatever God has shown you will come to pass. It will. What slows it down is when we have these soul wounds that cause us to doubt God, to doubt ourselves, and it causes us to really put ourselves in situations, relationships, job things, family things that we don't really need to be in, but because we are functioning from emotion and not from a healed place, when we're functioning from hurt and trauma and not from a healed place, we don't make the best decisions. I'm talking about, I said we. See, we, me and you, we. And so then when you understand the power of soul care, when you understand the power of partnering with God and really understanding his character and his love for you, your identity becomes grounded in something unchangeable. And life begins to make sense even when it doesn't make sense. Because he makes sense. So, hey Marlo Jones. I really hope that this is helpful. If you missed some of it, go back and watch it. And I'm steadily trying to get these up. I'm thinking I'm just gonna put up 2 or 3 videos that I had recorded earlier, because I'm telling you, this journey, these adventures with God are so amazing. And I know that people put up their adventures because they're like, look at what I'm doing and all of that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even want to share it with y'all most of the time. It takes my tribe of people, right, who know me and love me and know God's calling on my life to encourage me to share. Because there are times like me not going to Japan, that then it's like, I don't want to share, but that's exactly what people need to hear, because I'm telling you, this journey of faith got all kind of twists and turns and loops and all this stuff, and faith is messy, and you might give up if you don't understand that it's all still going to work together for your good. It's all going to work together for your good. No, I don't want to tell nobody that. Like, you only want to show the good stuff, but it's not the good stuff that's going to help you through the hard times. Believe that. It's not the good stuff that's going to help you through the hard times. So my life is, God's like, I want you to take people on the adventure of your life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to do it. This is not my desire. However, I trust him. I just don't believe in him. I believe him. And I pray that as you journey with me, that will be your declaration too. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. If you got some comments and stuff, I will answer them in there. But in the meantime, I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.